The same dog they once saved and happily adopted out? When they arrived, their worst fears were confirmed. And there he was, near an old rusted machine, not moving much. His fur was snow white, matted and mired in oil and brown with dirt. He had been injured in the leg, still chained to his neck, and his eyes, watchful and hurt and betrayed. One rescuer approached and called gently, "Beike, it's us, you know?" For a moment, Beike moved forward, but just as quickly he stopped. Cringing, growl, teeth gritted in fear. Can you imagine a dog once full of love, now afraid to be touched? They left no stones unturned. Food. Clearly, they are kind words. Old voices. The problem was Beike was too scared. He crawled back under the machine again and again, like a prisoner too frightened to leave his cell. What wrongdoing had they committed? Where had they failed him? Finally, what felt like hours later, they finally coaxed him out. Very carefully, gradually. He was tense. His eyes were deafening in distrust, but he was out. They shouted for the owner, waited, wished someone would explain. And then a man showed up, peeved, disparaging. "He's all right under the machine," he said. Fine? Beike had a limp, starving, scabbed over. They asked him, how could he do this to Beike? The man said, "He's my dog, mind your business." The rescuers exchanged a glance, but they knew there was no leaving him behind. So despite the man's protests, they picked up Beike and brought him home. At the shelter, they carefully unshackled him. That was the wound, painful and infected, which had burrowed into his neck. They hand-fed him, soft words, reached out to the Beike they knew. But they were haunted by guilt. He had been given to someone undeserving of him, and now they had to help him heal. Beike was taken to the city hospital. He didn't fight back. He just lay there like he had given up. The vet determined that he should be bathed to clean his wounds. At first, Beike kept cool, perhaps recalling such kindness from before. But then, he panicked. He screamed, cried, fought. Suddenly, the memory of pain, of being hurt, poured over me. As the water cleared the grime, the actual horror was seen. 3 gaping, infected, pus-dripping wounds on his neck, a cut on his leg, 2 more on his side. The fur had concealed it. He had been suffering in silence. The vet moved quickly. They inserted drainage tubes, washed out the wounds, gave him a sedative for his pain. If they'd only waited just a few more days, Beike could have perished. The next day, the crew came back with optimism. They'd bring eggs, his favorite. Beike took a few bites and stopped. The infection was sapping his strength, the vet said. He was undernourished, body too fragile, his spirit broken. The rescuers persevered. Day 3. Meat was bought. Beike sniffed, then ate. He finished the whole bowl for the first time. When they called his name, he inched closer. Tentatively, but slowly, but closer. A spark of belief. On day 6, they brought him into the garden. Sunlight stroked his fur. The wind played in his ears. He didn't blink. Instead, he leaned into a rescuer's arms. Not on the run, not to growl, just leaning, gently, softly, into the warmth. His eyes were different. The empty being replaced by something new. Hope. But wait, a setback. The former owner showed up at the hospital and wanted Beike back. The vet said no, but Beike, he listened to the voice, smelled the odor, and panicked again. He bolted back to his cage, shaking. The fear returned, and with it, the wall around his heart. But the team remained patient. They gave him snacks, sat down beside him, until the shaking stopped. Day 11, a milestone. That made the veterinarian chuckle. The inflammation was gone. New skin was starting to grow. The stitches were taken out. The wounds are healing nicely. By day 14, Beike wanted out. He walked with his rescuers, not dragged, through choice. He even allowed the vet to check his neck one last time. Relaxed, still. A change was taking place. 1 month later, Beike jogged in the park. His tail was wagging. His eyes were bright. He played with other dogs, free, fearless, full of life. That dog who used to cower under a machine is now leaping toward the sun. 3 months earlier, Beike's coat shone. His scars had faded but not disappeared. They told a story, a rescue story, of recovery, of resiliency. Beike may never forget what happened to him, but now he knows what love feels like, what safety is, what it's like to be held, not hurt. All of this because someone cared. For someone cared. Because they stayed. Support your local search and rescue teams. Tell Beike's story. And never, ever be silent when you see suffering. Because your voice can save a life.